Hey everyone, welcome back to Sweet Things on Brixton Radio. It is the 1 year anniversary, and to celebrate, we've got none other than someone I'm really inspired by and someone I look up to. We've got none other than Future Retro's very own Tim Reaper.
Pleased to be here, George.
Thank you. So this is like a brief intro I made. So if we take it back to like late 2024, it's Sheffield Forge Warehouse, and you're playing for the Unity Underground's birthday.
Yeah.
With, is it MC Chickaboo?
Oh yeah, Chickaboo, yeah.
Yeah. So then, also right after Bakey, you was on, and personally, I think it was like the best set that night.
Oh right.
And it was one of the reasons why I started proper like mixing jungle more often.
Yeah.
And also trying to do like longer blends. And since then, I've come to recognise that you're unquestionably like one of a number of names in the forefront of the scene, especially in like jungle movement, who inspire me. So to open this up, who inspires you?
So when I was first starting to get into jungle, at first I only really knew like the old school 90s people that I was finding out from YouTube. So that was like Dillinger, Chrome in Time, 4 Hero, DJ Dexterous, MB, and then after finding out about like the new people that were doing jungle at the time, like Rupture and Scientific Wax, and finding out about like Kid Lib and Dord, then I was like, oh okay, so there's like an actual community that sort of exists nowadays for the sound. I guess early days there was very much the people that I gravitated towards for inspiration.
I mean, I was only like 18 when I first started like getting invested into like jungle drum and bass.
Yeah.
With like uni and like kind of like before with like acts like Nia Archives.
Yeah.
And I've seen this scene like grow more popular with like my generation.
Uh-huh.
How do you view like the scene right now that it's bringing more fans in day by day, especially like younger audiences?
It's so surprising because like when I first started getting into like the old school, new school jungle, I sort of was like this very humble, like small rooms, like the scene is like basically like the only participants, not really like something that's so widely known. And like I just sort of was like, this is what I'm used to, this is what I know, I can't imagine it changing anytime soon. And it's just like grown and grown year on year, and it's just been pretty insane to be honest. But like it's been really cool as well because like when I first started going to raves, the old school jungle, the new school, old school jungle events, like the crowds weren't necessarily that young. They're most like, I don't know, mid to late 30s upwards, maybe some people that were like late 20s, but like it was mostly like skewed to like the people that used to go to jungle raves back in the day and still kept it going, and a few newer people that they weren't like 19, 20-year-olds from uni like I was at the time. So it's been quite cool to sort of now see full crowds of younger people and sort of know that I guess there's more life left in it because they're gonna keep it going, and then it's gonna be something that goes on forever, you know.
I mean, it's kind of good as well. Like it's like a diverse age range. Like we've seen it with like Houghton Festival and Boomtown recently. It's like it's not everyone that's like just like finished their GCSEs or A levels. It's also like people who, you know, like 30 plus still going just to, like for the love of the music and the scene. So I guess that's kind of good as well. It's like not everyone there is just like new to it, I guess.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic to sort of see like people that might have been into it back when it was more existent, and then it sort of died down and they sort of moved on to other things, and they realised that like there's a new gen that's still keeping it going and like maintaining the sound, and like I guess that sort of inspires like this like, oh okay, this reaction of like, okay, so people are still doing it, keeping it going, and they're making music that stays true to the original formula whilst also adding new influences and new sounds. I guess it can be quite nice to sort of be able to bridge the gap between like, I guess the OG generation and the current generation.
Yeah. So I did a bit of like deep research on like Wikipedia and stuff.
Uh-oh.
Nothing bad. Where did you get the name Tim Reaper from?
I
assume it's like some catch up with like the Grim Reaper.
Yeah, literally you stole my answer. It's basically like there's an artist called Ed Rush, which I really like his name because sort of like it's like a real name but it's also a pun, and I couldn't think of anyone. I couldn't think of a name as good as Ed Rush, so I was like Tim Reaper, Grim Reaper, that'll do. Don't know how long it's going to last for, but we'll see what happens. And he's just stuck.
Now.
Yeah, I'm now 15, 16 years later.
So a personal favourite of yours outside of jungle music I always love to play is between from your recent album Isle and also Lightning Rod.
Yeah.
Do you feel that there is an importance on diversifying your sound as an artist to reach like wider audiences, or just get whatever you want out and not worry about what others think?
I think the latter, because I feel like it's more important to stay true to yourself and sort of be able to trust your inner self and like what you want, rather than feeling any sort of pressures to like stick to one sound or to diversify to multiple sounds if you don't feel ready. Because like up until like last year, I hadn't really released anything that wasn't jungle, and now starting to put some of that stuff out into the world and feeling a bit more confident and working with other people within those worlds of other styles of music has sort of helped me sort of like let's express different form myself, which I didn't really feel any desire to up until now recent. So I don't think it's really a big deal.
Who would you say has like helped you in that matter?
So like in terms of the dubstep world, I'd probably say like Mia Coden, Beatrice M, Sim, Sub Basic, Gloom and Fossey's all people that I've been like making tunes with and sort of picking up tricks from and tips. And then from like, cause I also like garage, but I haven't actually finished any garage because I find it quite hard to do. But like
I see you like always like will have it in like sets and stuff.
Yeah.
I haven't never seen you like do a proper like garage.
Nah.
song.
Maybe one day, but like, because Dward, because he was making garage on the alias High Rise, and he was putting out his own stuff on his label Flat Tracks and on other labels, and he was part of the Shuffle and Swing DJ collective. I was sort of able to sort of see what he was doing and sort of like maybe like feel a bit less like I have to stay in my lane, but still not like I've really ventured that much out of my lane to actually put out any garage. But like, who knows what the future holds.
When did like the genres become like a full-time passion, especially when you were working as a web programmer?
Yeah, so like I think it was 2023 where I quit my day job because so during the pandemic I started Future Retro and that became really popular really fast, and I was doing that as well as being Tim Reaper, and I was working from home as a web developer for a radio company, and then I was also just doing loads of travel for shows. When the lockdown lifted and shows started happening, it sort of became quite hard to juggle it all. And like my intention was never really to do full-time music. I sort of always wanted music to be something like a passion or hobby, not really something that's like something that I have to depend on to make my money. But at the time it sort of felt right to sort of not stress myself out by doing full-time work whilst also travelling on the weekends and running my label and making productions for other labels and stuff. So yeah, I quit doing web development around 2023. I had a period of time last year when I was back in doing web development, but like now I'm back and doing full-time music.
Right. What made you want to start Future Retro?
Yeah, so the way Future Retro happened was like, so do you want the short story or the long story?
Yeah, let's go long.
Okay,
we got time.
Yeah, cool. So like, there was this event I played in London where the lineup was really good, and it was a free event. And when I got there, there must have been like 20 people max there, and then 20 turned to 15, turned to 5. I was playing last, and I think I played to like 2 or 3 people or something like that, and that was only like, that must have been like 2019, something like that. So I've been going for quite a while. I had quite a lot of releases and stuff and been DJing in other places, but like the day afterwards I had like a daydream where I was like being interviewed by like a journalist, and it's like me, my future self, talking to this journalist, and they asked me questions about like my past involvement in the new school jungle scene. And they asked me one question where it was like, if you had a time machine you can go back to 2020 and you could do something different that would probably help the scene, what would you do? And I would say, I said in the interview, I would start a physical space, because I felt like the new school jungle scene, it sort of had pockets where it existed, but didn't have like it's one place where like everyone is there. Didn't have like any dedicated brands for just new school jungle DJs showing occasion of their productions at this event, in the way that like I guess with Broken Beat you had Co-op, and then with drum and bass you had like Metalhead's The Blue Note, and then like dubstep you had like Forward. Just these places where like people can go and sort of see like the real life existence of this scene that they're a part of, and sort of see it unfold in front of their eyes. So when I came out of that daydream I was like, I guess I have to do it now.
Yeah.
So like I first started doing the events, but then the pandemic happened before the first event took place, so I had to postpone that. But in the meantime, I started the label with the Meeting the Mind series, which is an idea I had that I didn't know what label I worked with that would allow me so much creative control to just have these releases that like would have all these different collaborations of people and all these different styles of jungle. So I ended up just being like, well, I built up a bit of reputation for Future Retro promoting the first event. I'll just do it as a label as well, and then the label and club night just became something that really grew really quickly.
I mean, since then, obviously you came up in like the scene with like Ward, Sully, Nefertiti, Coco Bright, and you always seem to like be doing like massive back-to-backs with them.
Yeah.
If you could only go back-to-back with one of them the rest of your life, who are you choosing?
Ward.
Fair play. That was so instant.
Yeah, I mean, like he's probably the person I've played the back-to-back the most. We don't even really need to talk about what we do. We just go in the booth and make it happen. In fact, I think this summer we have 5 weekends in a row going back-to-back, and we played the Old Blue last weekend with Pete Devnall doing the Global Sculpt Showcase. Oh, sorry, no, the weekend before that was that. Weekend just gone, we played at Boomtown. This weekend we're playing Deckman Selectors. Next weekend we're playing with Coca Bryce and Sully at Phonox. The weekend after that, playing a festival in Gloucester called Sound City, and we also played at Outlook a few weeks ago. So like literally like non-stop back-to-back bookings with Ward, and it's just very seamless. Neither of us are like that precious about what's going on. So like if he's like getting the blend going and I want to work the effects or vice versa, there's no like standing back and give him space. So it's quite fun that way, quite spontaneous, and like yeah, we've also been able to do multiple styles of music. So like we can DJ Gary back to get together with DJ dubstep, techno. It's sort of like quite free flowing really, so I'd say him easily.
I mean, a lot of people like will know your guys like jungle music and sets you play across the world, but like last year you released 2 albums, SFS and oh my god, SFS, and I forgot the name of the other one.
In Vain.
Sorry, In Vain. I was going to say In Vain.
That's a good 50%.
You explore like different genres with like more electronic music, and especially like dubstep and stuff. What made you like want to do that?
Yeah, so like the year before that, actually no, 2 years before that, I ended up working on some dubstep music with these 2 producers called Gloom and Fossa, and from working with them I sort of learned some production like prowess with dubstep, because it's like for me with jungle, because that's what I started learning to make, and that's what I made for the entirety of my career. I sort of felt like my production process was very tailored around like always knowing that you're going to be sampling like break beats and 808s and so on and so forth. So like the idea of going back to like the slower genre where you're sequencing your drum patterns with like one shots, and like the arrangements aren't so like cluttered and crazy and full of stuff happening. It's more about this breathing space, and like to be able to sort of go into that style of production, I didn't really feel like I could do it confidently on my own. So working with those 2 really helped, and then I started making music with Beatrice M and Mia Coden as well, and that really helped. And then eventually I guess I started to sort of get to grips with how to get these ideas out of my head that I had into actual reality. And then I was just like, well, I still didn't think they were like good enough to shop around to like labels and try and play the games, try and get these out. So I was like, I was do a Bandcamp release and put them out and see what people were saying about it and whatever. So like that was the concept of those 2 albums really, just sort of like a free flowing, just trying to sort of trial by fire learn how to make other kinds of music that weren't just like so 160 BPM break beats and so on and so forth.
I noticed on the SFS album cover it's a picture of you younger with like a mini keyboard attached to like a kid's book.
Yeah.
Has music always been like a formula in your life and something you wanted to like pursue?
No, it never was, up until I found out about Old School Jungle, and I loved it so much that like I wanted to make new Old School Jungle tracks. I didn't even know any at the time, so I was like, well, this stuff is so good, there's got to be more. We got to make more of this, and that's why I started learning making music. That thing in the photo was actually just like a toy I got given. Didn't know how to use it, and like, yeah, I mean, I did love music, but very much like just like a passive listener. Like I liked grime before I liked jungle. I used to watch Channel U and MTV Base, so I'd have like.
Did you ever watch AKA?
Yeah, I did AKA, because Channel U turned into AKA. They rebranded and renamed it as AKA. Right. Yeah, and like Also I used to like JME, used to like Skepta, Lethal B, Kano, but like I didn't love it so much that like I was like, I have to get involved in this. Plus I guess it's like with jungle, I sort of felt like I could get involved in it on my own, but I feel like grime sort of like you have to be around people that are sort of involved in it in some way. That's how I felt when I was like 15, 16 anyway.
Would I be like right in saying these projects had a lot of like influence on you, like growing up in East London?
Yeah, somewhat, because like a lot of this track sampled, well, it's a mixture of stuff. Like some of the samples are from like stuff I remember listening to when I was a kid. Some stuff that I like was rediscovering from the time that I didn't really clock onto. And then some new examples as well of stuff that like I'd never really paid much attention to, because like the thing with jungle for me was like it was something I loved so much that I dived headfirst into it. I sort of stopped caring about loads of other kinds of music that I also used to enjoy. But like over time I started to see that there was value for me to still keep in touch and like ear to the ground of like other styles of music, and then bring that influence into jungle rather than just being so jungle feeding into itself.
Were there any like places in East London that like influenced you with your music?
Westfield, Stratford, I'd say, because that's like before when I was young, I used to go to like the Exchange in Ilford. That was like a shopping centre. But I'd go there and I'd be listening to music on the bus on my iPod, my blue iPod Mini, and then it changed to Westfield, Stratford, because that was slightly easy to get to from Bucko Stillage, where I was living when I was younger. And yeah, I don't know actually, really. Never thought about that, you know. Because the thing is as well, I was quite a recluse when I was younger. I would go to school and I'd come straight home and just be on the computer, online, on YouTube or on forums, just trying to get involved, really.
Yeah. I'm gonna sound like a complete nerd right now, but in your sets and on like what's NTS or like wherever you perform, I always notice you're using like the noise effect and do you do it?
Yeah, so like I remember it was like when I moved into the place I'm in Bermondsey, and I finally got a home set up. So I had this same Nexus, the Nexus 2s. I actually wanted to get used to how the effects work, so that when I'm in the club I'm not afraid of like accidentally touching the sweep button and knowing how to turn it off, or like actually knowing how the beat effects works. Because like before that I'd use a track controller, and that has its own built-in effects. And then I started like learning on the job with CDJs, but I was still not very confident on them. So when I got a pair of them at home and the mixer, I was like just messing around with effects and stuff. And then I noticed that like with the crossfader, you can chop in the noise and you can somewhat manipulate the dry wet so it makes it sound like you're scratching. So I started practicing that, and now I'm actually trying to learn how to actually scratch, because I feel like that would open up the realm for how it can actually sound. Because noise scratching is cool, but like it's going to sound almost identical every single time, whereas scratching with an actual sound changes based on what sound you put into it.
Yeah, I saw that clip of you doing it on vinyl.
Oh yeah.
Yesterday. I thought, Jesus.
Yeah, that was early days in my journey of scratching, but like yeah, slowly but surely I'm practicing. I have to keep myself like refreshed and learn new stuff as I go on, otherwise I get bored or stale.
I saw an interview with DJ Mag a while ago. You said producers care deeply about how they make their music, but not always necessarily about where that music gets to.
Yeah.
Is this one of the reasons you started Future Retro, to get more life out of people's music and help them get the recognition they deserve more than just outside like the dance floor?
Because I knew so many people where like either they didn't really have the means or the know-how to be able to like sort of connect their music with the right labels that put them out, or they just were like, they just make the music and it's just whatever to them. They didn't maybe see the value in releasing it, or they didn't really prioritize it. So like knowing that I had access to these people, I'd be getting sent their music as they were making it, or like I had their music stockpiled. I was just like, well, I guess I'm in a good position to be able to like put out tunes from like Phineas 2, didn't even really send out his music to anyone, or like Cloak when I did his album On Rhythm. And the way that came about was when I was in Melbourne and I met him and I was in the studio. He was playing me through tunes in this folder, and in this folder he had thousands of files, and I was like, what's this folder you're playing all this music from? And he's like, anytime I work on something I export a WAV and put it in this folder, and then one of these folders is going to sit here and rot. I'm going to put some stuff out and then maybe to pay you out of it, maybe get your name out there, get you some recognition from other people, other labels, other DJs, and just get some more eyes on what these people are doing, because they're all very talented, but maybe they just didn't have the courage or the awareness of like the demand that there was out there for their music, so they just weren't really acting on it, whereas I was in a position where I could do that bit for them, and all they had to think about was just making the music, which is what they were best at. So like, yeah, I felt like people that I knew needed to get some recognition for what they were doing, and Future Retro allowed me to sort of help change that.
Right. Do you think it's played like a key role in the new jungle movement?
I would say so, because it's quite hard to buy into people as a fan if they haven't got many releases, because like ultimately, if there's not much material there to tap into, you can't really become a fan of someone based off of their potential. I mean, I guess you can, but like more times than not, you're sort of into what you know they've already done. And if you don't know, then not to say it's useless, but like it's locked away from potential fans.
Yeah. I mean, outside of the label, when like people send you their music, how does that like make you feel? It's just like they want like you to listen to it or you can play it.
I can't lie. I'm terrible at checking my demos. Even though I said all that, I'm pretty bad at checking my inbox. It's been built up for a long, long time of people sending me tunes, and like even though I won't discourage people from sending me music, because you never know when I will be able to get the time to actually go through it all, I do feel like I appreciate that people do feel like it's valuable for me to hear their music and potentially be able to play their music or show their music to other people I know that run labels, or to even put it out on my own label. So I understand how that would play a part, I guess.
Fair enough. What would you like to see more of in the scene as more young people get attracted to it, whether that is as like a producer, DJ, promoter, or someone just like wanted to start a record label?
First thing that came to mind was collaboration, but I feel like more so people are starting to clock on how important that was, because like when I did the Meeting the Minds releases, that was 4 collabs with new people every single time. I think I did 14 of them, and then just collab joint label projects I did in Future Retro as well. I sort of felt like there was a lot of value in working with people that sort of put you out your comfort zone, or they would be able to sort of like make you rethink some of the things you do and like push you into doing things you wouldn't do on your own. And I do loads of collaborations as well in my own personal projects, and I feel like people are starting to see like the value in doing that, because I'm getting sent like collab releases between like other producers within the scene that may not have worked previously together, but now they sort of realise that there's crossover between what they work together. So I'd definitely say that, but then I'd also say I hope it doesn't sound patronising, but I think patience, because like it's easy to feel, because I felt it as well in the past, where it's like you feel like you're not getting anywhere by doing what you're doing. But I think that a mixture of luck and consistency and showing up, eventually you will be hopefully able to reach a point that you could never have imagined yourself before. Because like before, I think when I was 25, that was the first time I'd ever left the country, when I got booked to play in Croatia for a hospitality festival. And like by that point I'd been making music for like 8 years, and that was like the first time I'd ever been booked to play outside of the UK. And there were times before that where I could have been a bit frustrated by like how I knew other people that were getting those bookings and I wasn't, but ultimately I just was like, well, I'm just here to have fun in it, so as long as I'm having fun, then whatever comes on top of that is a bonus. But I guess also because I had a day job, so I wasn't trying to make music my living, so I can understand that some people may not be able to facilitate the same level of patience that I had, but like I feel like you stop yourselves from setting yourself up from failure or resentment by having that ability to sort of be self-aware, to realise when maybe sometimes your envy or jealousy or impatience may lead you into ways of thinking or actions that may actually be working against your favour.
Yeah. There was a post from Harvey Creatures I came across the other week, which was him like expressing like his frustration in like and thoughts on like D&B and jungle having like very little underrepresented diversity and making sure everyone has like a fair chance to be seen, developed, supported. I think it was in your interview with Tilda I saw. Yeah. You brought it up but for someone like you who has been in the scene for over a decade, where would you say we start as a scene and make it feel like 110% welcoming?
Good question, actually. I think it was tricky early days because I feel like maybe the barrier of entry for getting into jungle was quite high because it was not exactly something that was easy to find, and when you find out about it, a lot of the music wasn't very accessible because unless you had a pair of Technics and the money and facilities to create a vinyl collection, you weren't really going to be able to get much jungle because a lot of it was still only on vinyl, and a lot of the new jungles was also being vinyl only as well.
I guess with social media as well, it's got more attention. Yeah,
it's much more attention. It's much more easy to stumble upon these things rather than the convoluted way I stumbled upon it. But I think with accessibility sort of facilitates people of different backgrounds, different classes, different identities to be able to sort of stumble upon jungle and feel like it's something that they could see themselves being a part of. Plus, I guess it took me a while to realise this, but role models are quite a big thing in the way that I see a lot of people citing Sherelle and Nia Archives as people where it's I can see myself now being a DJ because I've seen these people DJ and they resonate with me more so than I guess I don't know, your average white male DJ. But I guess you have to, it's a very personal thing as well because I sort of didn't really care much about the fact that I was a very small minority in terms of age and ethnicity when I first started getting into jungle, but I recognised that for a lot of people, if they sort of go to these events when I was going to them and felt so out of place, they may not have continued on. So now that it's no longer like that, I feel like it's probably working to our advantage in terms of bringing a more diverse demographic, really.
Yeah. I mean, I spoke to Mitch just about Cross the Tracks. We spoke about how we think lineup diversity has slowly gotten worse since post-lockdown.
And I think there was a point in the end of lockdown, people were having these really good conversations and productive conversations about diversity riders and inclusivity and making sure clubs are a safe space for women, and it's not just a bunch of dudes and you feel creeped out. I think it is actually slowly over time, it was good for a bit where there was a festival at the Cause in Ashley Road, but it was at the old Cause, that was 100% female and LGBTQ headliners, and it sold out, and we were there, and now I'm seeing all of these drum and bass, bassline, garage lineups, and it's just dude, followed by other guy, and it's the thing about diversity that's important is it's not just about the tokenism and visually seeing oh, there's a brown woman on the line. It's about the fact that these people come from different experiences and they'll have different tunes, and that would be nice because it's variety is the spice of life.
I feel during the pandemic there was a huge drive to really push promoters to try and represent underrepresented identities, and they were responding to that push by booking a large amount of people of different genders and ethnicities and sexualities, and then I guess for them they just lost steam with it and then fell back to I guess business as usual to some degree anyway. And I guess I think they've also realised that maybe it's not the most ideal end result, but if they don't book a diverse lineup then they still sell tickets, and I think that was a fear they had previously, that if we don't put on diverse lineups then we won't be able to continue doing what they're doing. But then they realised that actually we can do whatever we want, and then that sort of led to this sudden whether or not you can prove this with facts, not this decline of interest in trying to make sure every lineup has a certain proportion of people from a different identity. Yeah.
I guess you said about with money wise, just I think people was put profit over the actual acts and people. You've seen it with online competitions where it's oh, if you enter this, then you can get a free DJ slot. You just got follow these rules, etc.
Yeah.
Do you think there's some people just taking the piss with this?
Oh,
you're
yeah,
not
definitely.
actually helping out these acts. It's
well,
you're not exposing them. You're not helping them financially when you can.
Yeah. Because as much as you get experience from that, ultimately what you do is you basically become a vessel of promotion for this event, because you're trying to rally up all your mates to support you in this opportunity to get to this event. And ultimately all you're doing is just basically doing the promoter's work, and then the promoter's not even really remunerating you for your talents or for your work. So it is a shame. As much as I guess some promoters allows them to be able to book acts where like we don't have any budget for extra acts, but we can put you on for free, and then you can maybe transition this into something that does benefit you. But I feel like a lot more times than not it is usually just like a marketing ploy.
Yeah. I mean, on a positive note now, is there anyone upcoming in the jungle scene you've been loving recently?
Oh yeah, loads. So like, first one that comes to mind is Fez the Kid. I feel like he's putting out a lot of good stuff, and I'm getting sent a lot of bits that aren't released that are really, really good. Radical, produced from Poland, who I had on my label towards the tail end of 2023. His stuff is fantastic. Dope on Plastic, they're doing some amazing stuff. They're based in America. Also Ontology as well, wicked American producer. In fact, on topic American producers, Soanado, Solox, Quad. But yeah, there's loads of really good DJs and producers in the new school jungle scene. And like, it's good that they're all sort of like creating their own like styles and sounds in the way that like, I could do a mix and you could be hearing, actually sounds like a Soanado track, because it doesn't just sound like any old track, and the same go for like Dope on Plastic or Quad or Ontology or Radical. They all have their trademarks, which has come from like refining their sound, perfecting certain parts and leaning towards certain elements, and it's building their own flavours, and the sports have these flavours mixed amongst the whole pot because it sort of makes it a bit more distinct rather than everyone doing exactly the same thing.
What would your advice be to anyone upcoming in the scene?
So first and foremost, have fun with it. Don't enter this expecting to be the next Sherelle or the next Mantra or the next Sully. Just all those people started doing what they did because they wanted to, because it was a passion, I guess. They weren't trying to become so and so, because the idea of becoming that with old school jungle at the time was like ludicrous, because like there was such a ceiling for where you could go with this music, and it's changed now. There's more opportunities for anyone that's coming into it, but I feel like the more you focus on just doing it for enjoyment, the more likely you're able to sort of steer a clear path for yourself and not like waver based on what you feel like you could do to get yourself a step forward, to get booked for like this festival, or to get like offered a guest mix on like this big radio platform. I feel like if you just have fun first and foremost, and also just like getting involved in community in a very wholesome, not strategic kind of way, just like I like jungle, you like jungle, just try and maybe see if we can become friends, and whatever may come from that comes from that. Because like when I first got in touch with Kidlib, it wasn't to try and like form like a record label collective. It was just like, I heard your tunes on Bandcamp and I think they're sick, and that's cool. And then we end up just chatting because like there wasn't that many of us at the time, and then one thing leads to another, and then he's now like still to this day one of my favourite jungle producers of the new school generation. And that wasn't because like I saw him as that at first and wanted to jump on it. I just did it, I guess, out of like wanting to connect, really, out of like wanting to connect with as many people as possible, because I just loved jungle so much, not because I was trying to build Tim Reaper up to be like the next big thing, really. I feel like that energy, if you bring that, you may not last very long, because either you get to a point where you have achieved everything, you don't know what to do with yourself, or you don't achieve it and you just feel like burnt out and frustrated because you've done all these steps that you felt like would give you success, and then it didn't, and it's like, well, it's not fair. And it's like, well, it never was fair. But if you're just doing this for fun, you wouldn't care about that stuff.
Thank you for that advice. My final question for you, what can we expect next from Tim Reaper? So
last week I sent the pre-masters off for my next album on Hyperdub. Yeah, that's solo this time. It's not with Cloak, it's solo, and it's jungle, but it's a different kind of style jungle. And on top of that, I'm working on a release for Up Your Archives, New Archives label. I'm actually doing a lot more dubstep as well. I've got an album coming out with this producer called Sim, that's coming out on Fabric next year. What else I got coming? Me and Beatrice M, we like self-released a 2-track release 2-3 weeks ago. We got another one coming in the next few months. And what else is there? Oh yeah, me and Dward are finally bringing back Globex Corp, because it's been a few years since the last one. it's been a few years since the last one. I feel like it's time to bring it back, especially because like we have got enough like solo and collab tracks of ourselves and other people that could probably come out somewhere. And I feel like Globix Corp's a nice avenue for that.
Okay. Thank you very much for coming on, Tim.
No, cheers, having me,
For
George.
the next hour and a bit, expect a back-to-back from me and Tim Reaper.
Do we have to?
I mean, you can go if you want.
No, I'm here. Let's do it. Let's do it.
You first. Yes.
Okay, cool. I'll plug my USB.
This is all the sign I need. Are you gonna ride with me? Let me know you listen to the light to me. This is all the sign I need.